It began in silence, a towering figure standing before a mirror, her reflection both powerful and uncertain. Geena Davis had always seemed larger than life, tall, elegant, fiercely intelligent. But behind the calm composure and radiant smile, there were battles no one saw. There was a time when she nearly walked away from Hollywood, convinced that her best years had passed and her voice would never be heard in the way she hoped. Yet this woman, who once played heroines who flew planes, fought pirates, and changed the fate of other women on screen, would one day fight one of her most defining battles, not on camera, but against an industry that didn't believe women could still lead after 40. Her story began in Wareham, Massachusetts, where she was born Virginia Elizabeth Davis in 1956. She grew up surrounded by books, imagination, and music. Her parents, both educators, encouraged curiosity, and from an early age, Geena dreamed beyond the ordinary. She was tall, shy, and often felt out of place among her peers, her height setting her apart long before Hollywood ever noticed her. But instead of retreating, she learned to stand tall, literally and figuratively. Her early years were filled with quiet ambition. She played piano, excelled in school, and secretly imagined a future on stage, long before she had the courage to speak it aloud. Fate, as it often does, intervened in the most unexpected way. After graduating from Boston University with a degree in drama, Geena worked briefly as a window mannequin at Ann Taylor, standing motionless, poised, and graceful. It was there that a fashion photographer spotted her, captivated by her presence, and helped launch her modeling career in New York. But Geena wanted more than to be seen. She wanted to say something. Acting became her calling, and soon she began attending auditions, often met with polite rejections or dismissive glances. Casting directors couldn't quite place her. Too tall, too smart, too different. But that difference, the very thing that made her an outsider, would one day make her unforgettable. Her big break came with a role that was both comedic and bold, opposite Dustin Hoffman in Tootsie, 1982. She played a soap opera star who embodied the kind of beauty and vulnerability that made audiences take notice. From there, the doors opened slowly but steadily. In the years that followed, Geena proved she was not just another pretty face. She shone in The Fly, where she combined horror with heart, and Beetlejuice, where her quirky charm became iconic. But it was the accidental tourist that revealed the full depth of her talent, earning her an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Yet fame, as always, came with its shadows. Behind the public smiles, Geena's personal life was far from steady. Her marriages, 4 in total, each carried hope and heartbreak. Her union with filmmaker Rennie Harlin was one of the most public. Together, they seemed unstoppable, creative partners who shared both passion and ambition. But as quickly as it began, cracks appeared. Betrayals and emotional distance followed, leaving Geena to pick up the pieces. Through it all, she never spoke with bitterness, only quiet grace. Her strength wasn't loud. It was resilient. The 1990s marked her reign as one of Hollywood's most versatile leading ladies. She starred in Thelma Louise, a film that became not just a box office success, but a cultural revolution. The final scene, that breathtaking leap into the canyon, became a symbol of freedom and defiance, not just for her character, but for women everywhere. The film made her a feminist icon, though she would later admit that she didn't fully understand its cultural weight until years later. When countless women told her how it had changed their lives, she continued her streak with a league of their own, proving she could command a baseball diamond as effortlessly as she could a movie screen. Her portrayal of Dottie Hinson, a woman caught between family duty and personal ambition, was both powerful and poignant. The film became a classic, and for many young women, Geena was the face of possibility. Athletic, intelligent, independent. She'd become something rare, a true role model in an industry that often valued appearance over depth. But fate had other plans. The mid to late 90s brought disappointment. Big budget films like Cutthroat Island and The Long Kiss, Goodnight, both produced by her then husband Harlan, were financial disasters. The failure of those movies nearly ended her career. Studios began labeling her box office poison, and the roles that once flooded in suddenly vanished. It was a devastating blow. Yet, in the quiet aftermath, Geena refused to surrender. Instead, she took time to reflect, to rediscover who she was beyond fame. She stepped back from the spotlight, focusing on raising her children and finding new meaning in her work. But her comeback didn't come through another blockbuster, it came through purpose. Geena founded the Geena Davis Institute on Gender and Media, an organization dedicated to promoting equal representation for women and girls in film and television. Her research revealed shocking disparities, and her advocacy began changing the industry from within. The same intelligence and integrity that once made her too different in Hollywood now made her a force for transformation. In later years, Geena made select returns to acting with nuanced performances in projects like Commander-in-Chief, where she played the first female president of the United States, earning her a Golden Globe. Off-screen, she became an Olympic-level archer, nearly qualifying for the U.S. team in 2000, another testament to her drive and discipline. Even as the world celebrated her successes, few knew the private struggles she endured, the doubts, the quiet moments of isolation, the pressure of being a trailblazer in a world that too often resisted change. And yet, through every chapter, she remained grounded. Her quiet dignity, her humor, and her unwavering belief in equality never wavered. When you look at her most private photos, the ones where she's laughing with her children, competing in archery, or speaking passionately at a conference, you see a woman who defied the odds at every turn. A woman who turned pain into purpose and failure into fuel. Today, Geena Davis stands not just as an actress, but as a symbol of endurance, a reminder that true power lies not in fame, but in the courage to keep evolving. Her journey from small-town dreamer to Hollywood icon to advocate is one of quiet revolution. And like the characters she brought to life, she never needed saving. She was always the one driving the story forward. Her tale began with uncertainty, but it ends with purpose, the kind that outlasts youth, beauty, and even time itself. Geena Davis didn't just act in the movies that inspired generations. She became the inspiration. If her story moved you, if her strength reminds you that it's never too late to reinvent yourself, then take a moment to celebrate her. Like, comment, and subscribe, and keep her extraordinary legacy alive.